Hi guys, it's Sherry. So my gnome is out of the oven, completely baked and cooled off. What I did after it cooled off was I popped the gnome off, and then I took permanent marker and I etched out where the gnome was, because what I'm going to do is I'm going to use my Dremel and I'm going to sand down these areas so we have a good raw section to put our glue on, so we know that the gnome is not going to fall off. But before we do that, I'm going to put this off to the side, and we're going to take the gnome and we're going to do little touch-ups and add some shading. And I'm going to use some different color pinks. I'm going to use white, some gray, and some black. I'm also going to add a little bit of sparkle. Okay, so first we're going to start with the dark, and we're just going to add a little bit here and there. Get a little bit of light. I'm just adding a little bit just to give it some different color here. It may look messy at first, but it will look really nice when it's finished. I'm just kind of throwing different colors all over just to give it a little shading. Go with the lighter pink here. Okay. Now, it's going to kind of dry blend it. Okay. Now, I want to take I want this really light, because I just want to do the insides here, and then I'm going to take my finger. Because we're just giving it some shade. Anywhere there's a little crease, we're just going to add a little tiny black to give it that little pop that it needs. Okay. I'm gonna add a little here. And a little in here. Okay. Not like how much. I'm just going to dry that up a little. There we go. Okay. Now we're going to add the gray to the beard. Add a little white. I'm keeping the white kind of thick on here, so it gives it a little more of that, I guess, 3D look or textured look. I'm not sure how you want to put it, but I just like the look better when you have it a little thicker, because then it's not all just gray. It blends it together nicely like that. Okay. And I'm going to add a little bit of the darker here to kind of separate it. Okay. And I got a little gray there, so I'm going to touch that up with some pink. Do the gloves. Get those nice and white. Okay. I'm going to touch up any of this that we got pink on. I need a skinnier brush. I'm going to put a little black there because I missed that. Okay. Take a little black, do the boots. All right. Now, take a little bit more white, just a tiny bit. Okay. So check, see if there's anything that you missed. Make sure you got it all. Okay. I'm going to clean up his nose a little bit. Get a little bit of water on my brush. Make sure everything is exactly the way you want it. Okay. Alright, so now we're going to put that off to the side for right now. Our sparkles will be brought in later. So make sure you have a mask to put on and have your Dremel ready, because our next step is to glue. So once again, don't go too far on the outside, because if this guy doesn't match up perfect, then you're going to see that ground up area. So be very careful. That's why I did the darker areas here, because that's the only area I'm going to get. And then these dark areas I'm going to get. I'm not going to go to the very outside, okay? So I will be back once I'm done grinding that. Okay guys, so I sanded down the cup and I got all the, well, I would say most of the, you see the shiny part off. I'm not sure if you could really see that or not here, but I wanted to get the shiny area off of this. So this way, when I use my glue, which I use No More Nails, it has something to bind to, because with the shiny, you have that chance and that risk of it still popping off because it's not sticking properly. So once you get the shininess off, it's more that dull texture and it'll have something to stick to. But see, I did not go to the outside, because this will give me just enough bondage to make sure that my piece does not fall off. So now I'm going to take this little section, I'm just going to do a really, really light sand to make sure that this is a little dull as well. So when I'm done with that, I will come back as well. Okay guys, so I sanded down this very lightly just to get most of the shiny parts off. Now I'm just going to take a little bit of rubbing alcohol and I'm going to clean my cup. Okay. And you'll have the ground off area as your guide. So we know this little character is going to go right there. So my next step is make sure that's clean. I'm going to get my glue here. And I'm just going to use my fingers and lightly spread it. You don't need overly too much. This stuff works wonderful. Get all the little nooks and crannies and make sure you get your little ball, because you do not want that coming loose or breaking off. Okay. have a towel handy. And make sure you place him where you need him. Press down. Okay. Make sure he's pressed down good. And you're going to want to wait 24 hours for this to completely dry before we do the next step. Because if I like to do the UV stuff, and if you UV it before it dries, this is going to pull up and then it can crack the UV, or all of it is going to come undone and then it's not going to be secure. So save yourself the headache, learn from my mistake, and don't do it. So I'm just going to take this, clean up any extra glue around the edges. Okay. Okay. So after that dries for the next 24 hours, I will come back and then I will show you how to add your sparkles to it and do the UV. So I will be back. Okay guys, so now here's the gnome and he is completely sealed on. So we're going to finally do the final touches of the cup. And what I am going to use is this brush on UV finish from Tiny Pandora. And then I'm going to use some Crafter's Choice Sparkle Glitter. Okay, I'm just going to brush on the UV. I always have a separate paintbrush that I keep in a little plastic baggie so I can reuse it. And just brush it on. Try not to get it on the actual cup. Take your time with this. You spent all this time creating your piece and you don't want to make a mess at the very end. Okay, once I know that I got my coat on, what I'm going to do is put a little bit thicker gel right in the middle here onto the white. And the reason I want it a little thicker there is because that's where I'm going to put my sparkles. Okay. Now I'm going to get my tiny brush that I have. Okay. And I'm just going to stick it right into the glitter. I'm going to go right in between onto the white and stick that right on there. And I'm going to put some right on the ball. Make that a little sparkly. And I'm also going to do his mittens. And then to complete it, I'm just going to put a little bit where I have my white dots to make them sparkle. And a little bit on the snowflake. Okay. Now I'm going to UV him till he's completely dry, and then he will be complete. Okay guys, so here he is all complete. You can see the sparkle and the shininess of him, and I think he came out fantastic. I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and if you did, please hit the like button, share, and follow. And I look forward to seeing you guys next time with my next video. Bye!